Now let's talk real quick about the pink lures. Any trick to it? He says those little frogs and little baby birds in the nest, they fall down. They're pink.
Yeah, those are I call them clickbait. Is but what those are.
Okay.
You know, they work. They work sometimes. They don't work all the time, and they catch more fishermen than they do fish.
What are you on right now?
It's a bona fide Power 129. It's a kayak. It's a fishing kayak, is what it is.
Yeah, man, he's right there.
So it's the very first fishing kayak that was designed to have motors on it and batteries and a lot of weight. So
yeah, and he's out there fishing, man. He's casting as I'm talking to him right now. I want to know what pushed you and how did you start, and what was that, why and how?
I've never had a viral video. I've never done anything, I never worried about that. I just kept plugging along, one video after another, and my numbers and subscribers and everything doubled every year. And so I told my wife, I was like, there's something to this. So I didn't quit my day job, but I put 100% of my extra time into that. And so, and then I tell everybody, I said, I'm not the best YouTuber. I didn't do this to get famous. I didn't do this for anything but just to help people out. But I'm the one that didn't quit.
Gene Jensen, the Fluke Master. I log on to do the podcast today, and he is on his boat. When I say, no, that's not a boat. What is that? What are you on right now?
It's a bona fide Power 129. It's a kayak. It's a fishing kayak, is what it is.
Yeah, man, he's right there.
So it's the very first fishing kayak that was designed to have motors on it and batteries and a lot of weight. So
yeah, and he's out there fishing, man. He's casting as I'm talking to him right now. He's got a nice gear behind him on this little thing, and he's got a little vest, and he got the GoPro on the chest and everything, and he's doing it, man. And I guess you are the Fluke Master, because this guy ain't no fluke. That's such a hacky joke. This guy ain't no fluke. I can't believe that came out of my mouth. All right.
My kids say that to me all the time. Don't worry about it.
There you go. I'm in good company then. All right, man. I want to get into the origin story, because I want to know. I can tell you already, this guy is interesting to me. The way he's got his Georgia hat on. He's a Bulldog fan, aren't you?
Yes, big time.
Okay. Let's see what's happening here. All right. Let's jump in. Let's go back to the beginning. Where are you from? What did your mom and dad do for a living? Tell us about yourself. Rapid fire. Go ahead.
Let's see. Where am I from? I grew up in Covington, Georgia. Seventh of 8 children. My mom and dad. My dad was a assistant plant manager at a company called Hercules for a number of years. Actually, for 32 or 34 years, he worked for that company. He originally was at a company that they owned called Morton Thiokol. And if anybody remembers what the Minuteman missile was, way back in the day, he was part of the engineering crew that designed the booster system for the Minuteman missile. So when I was stationed in Hawaii in the Army, I found one in a museum, and I sent a picture to him and asked him if he felt old. But
what was
he was.
What that piques my interest. What was the minute? I'm like half prepped.
It was the very first kind of a guided missile. It had wings and everything else. So it was the very first of its kind.
Yeah. Cool.
And so they would launch it and guide it into its target. But that was a long, long time ago. So he recently passed away about 4.5 years ago, and of Parkinson's. But mom was a homemaker, and I grew up in the South fishing and hunting and hanging out in the outdoors. My dad taught me every tree in the Southeast, the name and how to identify them when I was little, and I've fallen in love with nature ever since. But and then I was in the Army for 6 years. I was an X-ray technician in the Army, and then got out and was and continued to do that for 15 years until YouTube took over my life.
Well, there's the exciting incident right there. So we got a good landscape of what But now, when did you start to? This is where Rose steps onto the Titanic, ladies and gentlemen. I want to know when it's a Titanic reference from 1997. I want to know what pushed you, and how did you start, and what was that, why and how?
Well, it was kind of a gradual process. I've been doing YouTube for about 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so YouTube was about 1.5 years old, maybe. when I started. And at that time, it was just a website that you could put videos on for free. And I was a scoutmaster. I had a bunch of inner city scouts that I took fishing one time, and they loved it and they wanted to learn. And I worked weekends at the hospital as an x-ray tech at a trauma center, and I couldn't take them all the time. And so I said, you know what, there's this brand new website that'll let me put videos on there for free. I'll sell some stuff and get it. And I got my first 480 camera and started filming videos to teach them so they could watch them and then go out on the weekends and go fishing. And I started doing that, and I did it for about a year and realized that there was more people than just my kids watching. And so I kept doing it. And 3 or 4 years into it, I got my first $100 check from YouTube. And I was like, wait a minute, you can make money at this? And so it was funny. It just kind of was a gradual thing. I've never had a viral video. I've never done anything, I never worried about that. I just kept plugging along, one video after another, and my numbers and subscribers and everything doubled every year. And so I told my wife, I was like, there's something to this. So I didn't quit my day job, but I put 100% of my extra time into that. And so, and then I tell everybody, I said, I'm not the best YouTuber. I didn't do this to get famous. I didn't do this for anything but just to help people out. But I'm the one that didn't quit. And they called me the OG fishing YouTuber because I am the oldest one still around. But I keep telling people it's just because I don't know how to quit. And so that's what I'm out here doing today, is not quitting.
Oh my God, I love this story already. So what did that growth look like, and how often were you putting up videos, and how long were the videos, and what were they about?
Most of my videos were around 10 minutes to 5 to 10 minutes to start with. It's so hard to do an instructional video in less than 10 minutes. And then my numbers would double anywhere from 100 to 130% annually. And with the fishing world, because it has its peaks during the summer, and then it dies off in the wintertime. Once college football starts and hunting season starts and everything else, those numbers die off. So I can't judge week to week or month to month how well things are doing. I can only do it year to year. And so I just, my main goal to start with was 2 videos a week. And of course, this is before the shorts and everything else came out. And a funny story is when the partner program, the YouTube partner program, I was one of the very first, of course, one of the very first people to get into the partner program. But back then we had to fill out a job application.
Wow.
And then YouTube went in and looked at your channel and made sure it was all up to par and everything else. And they would either approve or reject it. And then, so because it was that small, I mean, literally it was a job application.
Wow.
And then you got accepted into the YouTube the partner program, and that's when you started getting paid. But like I said, those numbers kept doubling and doubling and doubling. And about 4 years before I retired from being an X-ray tech, I looked at my wife and I said, I pretty much know about when I'm going to be able to quit shooting X-rays and start filming or start doing it full time.
Wow.
And I picked it within 4 years prior. I picked it within a month, and just had an absolute, it was the scariest thing I ever did. I bought a house on 8 acres and quit my job 2 hours later.
Wow.
And so
all from YouTube revenue.
Oh, well, YouTube and sponsors and stuff like that. I was an influencer before they called them influencers.
Right.
And so, and I realized that kind of the influence I had on people and being able to move product and move the needle. And it was so hard to explain to the outdoor industry and the fishing industry that this was about to be a thing. I was 7 years prior to everybody else doing this. And so the frustrating thing is that nobody believed me, because the majority of the marketing directors back then didn't even believe in the internet, much less social media marketing.
Right.
And so I spent a lot of time trying to convince them that this was the next big thing and they needed to jump on board. And I would do a video. I do things called, "Hey, y'all, watch this." and I'd make a video about a product. I'd get on the phone. I'd contact the company. I say, look, let me know when the like Tackle Warehouse, the online retailers, let me know when they reorder this bait right here. And I'd launch the video. 2 hours later, I'd sell out the internet and they'd be ordering new baits. And so that, and then still to that, even doing that, most of the companies were like, nah, we don't want anything to do with it.
What the heck?
Yeah. But now it's a lot better. Now it's to the point where I do what I can do. I promise what I can accomplish. And I make enough money for my wife to be happy and my kids to be fed and a roof over my head. And, I'm not making $1 million. I'm not making $100,000 a year, sometimes a little bit more depending on my guiding and stuff like that. But I'm doing it because I love it. And I'm doing it because my wife lets me do it. So, because I tell my sponsors that you guys aren't paying me to do this. You're paying my wife to let me do this.
Wow.
So,
now the rev from YouTube, what's the rev from YouTube annually?
The what now?
The revenue from YouTube. What's that rev?
Oh, it's about a third of my income.
Okay.
So and then 2/3 are either sponsors or guiding or brand deals. I hate brand deals, so I don't do very many of them because most of them are from China and they're very difficult to understand. And they I've only done one in the last 3 years because it's just such a pain in the butt.
Brand deals from China, how's that work? The direct
well, they'll contact me via email and they'll be like, we'll give you $500 for a video or something like that. And then the product shows up and I try the product out. I'm like, I don't want to do this video because this product's a piece of junk. I've got an e-bike in my garage, in my barn right now that some company sent me.
Right.
And it broke within a week and a half of testing it out.
Right.
And so you just really have to be careful with brand deals.
Right.
I don't do it unless I already know the product or know the company and believe in the product or know that it's going to be a good thing.
Well, we're a product company. We just launched on Kickstarter, but I've owned a tarp company for 24 years. And just hearing your story, I'm like, we're probably going to talk in the post game because like you're the kind of guy and they're going to get a story that, we want to, but we vetted our product out for over 3 years, but also 24 years of the tarp business vetting out all stuff too. So, but that we'll talk in the post game. So now today, what does it look like? I mean, how much time are you putting into this? And you've been doing it for so long. How's that changed? What does that look like today? And how's it changed?
It was actually a lot easier when I had my full-time job. Because I worked weekend nights at the hospital. It was a trauma center. And we had our busy time and we had our downtime. And on the downtime, I'd get on my YouTube channel and I'd answer questions. And I could spend hours doing that. And my wife wouldn't bug me. And my to-do list, my honey-do list wasn't there. I was at work and I'd get up and go do my job and come back and sit down and do it again. So I was able to accomplish a lot more on the YouTube side while I was working full time.
Yeah.
And then Monday through Friday, I'd be filming. Now it's, if I'm at home, which I'm an hour and 20 minutes from my house right now, if I'm at home, I've got my honeydew list and I always feel like I've got to stay up with that because it's a 7.5 8 acre farm. Yeah. And this is the first year I haven't had a garden because I want to, focus on videos and stuff like that. But I always have things that I have to get done. And I feel guilty if my wife has to do them. And I've been married for almost 25 years. So it's just one of those things. And so I found that it's better if I get away from home Monday through Friday. And then typically Saturday, Sunday, if I don't have a guide trip on Saturday, I'll be home doing my honeydew list. Right.
I get you. Yeah. I got 10 acres out here in Texas. And I'll tell you, it's some work. It's weird. You dreamed about having acreage. And now sometimes I dream like, 1 acre, it would be real nice.
It's because there's always things to do. If I don't keep my grass and my fields cut, I get timber rattlers at the house, and cotton or copperheads.
Right.
And so I have to keep everything cut, and it's just miserable. And I got teenagers who are great kids, but they're teenagers, and they have chores, but you can't count on them getting done. So
likewise. I got Uberish about my mower. I got a Skag 61 inch. You get Uberish about mowers?
Yep, I've got a bad boy mower.
Nice, yeah.
That my kids have run into the dirt, but it still runs. And luckily, my oldest loves to work on small motors. So whenever there's issues with that, he'll come and fix it. And
That's nice.
And he doesn't do it for a living, but he just loves doing that kind of stuff. And then, but I want one so bad that has air ride seats. I'm tired of my back hurting when I get off of it after 7 hours of mowing.
I don't get paid by Skag, but I'll tell you what, I mean, I just love my Skag. It's the best mower. I've tried all of them, and John Deere, Skag's the best. FYI.
Yep.
Tiger Cat 2, you can't lose. You don't need the Cheetah. Just get the Tiger Cat 2. All right.
Yep.
So you're out there on the water. Is that near your house, or is that is that in front of your property, or where is that?
No, I'm an hour and 20 minutes from home. It's actually, I'm in Alabama right now. So Georgia is where I live. I live over in Rome, Georgia, which is only about 16 miles from the Alabama border, straight line distance. And I come over here. This is one of the best lakes in the country. And I've been fishing this lake on and off for 30 years. And so I know it pretty well. So I guide out of kayaks on this lake, and a couple other ones closer to home. But it's just one of the best bass fishing lakes in the country right now. You've heard boats going by me, and it's a busy lake, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a good challenge anyway.
Gorgeous too, right behind you. So
yep.
So bass fishing. Now let's talk about is that your number one? Bass?
Yeah, that's what can pay the bills. And I love to crappie fish, or that crappie has a ton of different names all over the country depending on where you're from. Right. But bass is something that is just a big challenge, and there's so many people that want to learn all the details from it. And there's so many. I've got 800 and some odd videos about bass fishing because there's so many details and so many things that can change, and just so many things to teach when it comes to that. So
I talked
it's
to
good money in it.
That compete in bass, John Cruz and all those guys.
Yep.
Then he also sells his own tackle company. Do you compete quite a bit?
No, I did up until my last tournament of this year was last week. It was the Kayak Bass Fishing National Championship, but I fished that one just because I felt obligated to, because the director's a good friend of mine. But I literally told him, I was like, I'm not fishing any tournaments again this year. I got to do videos.
Nice.
And so, because when I'm fishing tournaments, I don't do videos because I'm focused on trying to figure out these fish and what they're going to do and stuff like that. So, got another guy.
That was Jay Ball. He's been on the show. He believes, Jay. He's now. Let's talk real quick about the pink lures. Any trick to it? He says those little frogs and little baby birds in the nest, they fall down. They're pink.
Yeah, those are I call them clickbait. But what those are, okay. They work. They work sometimes. They don't work all the time, and they catch more fishermen than they do fish. Nice. But pink baits are a thing. Pink baits, depending on the lake you're in and the water clarity and stuff like that, and the type of bass you're fishing for, pink baits work great. Spotted bass lakes and lakes with super clear water. I don't know what it is about pink, but it does. It works.
Okay. All right. So. Can fish see pink? That's the big question of the ages, I guess.
I don't care what they see, as long as they bite what I've got. So.
And you're out there doing it now. Now let's talk about the mechanics of this thing. We're talking to a fishing guy here. Might as well talk about because you're out there doing it. And I see you're casting it out there. Now I've seen you do several, dozen different types of movements here.
Yep.
Take us through some of the stuff you're doing here while you're doing it.
Well, I'm fishing submerged grass right now. And so most people don't like to fish grass because their baits get hung up in them and everything else. Well, I'm fishing specific lures. This is called a chatterbait from a company called Z-Man. And it's just got a little blade on the front of it that vibrates, but it also helps that bait pop over or slide up over top of the grass and not get hung up so bad. So when you see me popping my rod, I'm actually ripping it through the grass or over the grass. And a lot of times these bass will hang out around those clumps of grass. And when you pop it out and let it sink down, they'll bite right after you pop it through. And so as long as it's not a wad of grass, they'll bite it and you'll get them in. So that's basically what I'm doing is I'm just slowly working it through. I'm in 9 feet of water right now. Grass comes up to 5 feet. And then there's clumps. And I'm just trying to get them to react to it when it comes through the grass.
I love that. I'm not a fisherman by any stretch, but I live on my property is 50% of it surrounded by the San Gabriel River out here in Georgetown, Texas, and bass and everything. And when I cast out there, when I do, it gets caught in that, and I hate that. And that's the worst thing. I was like, oh God, it's so frustrating. It makes me want to not.
So there's a technique to it. Now there's a few types of aquatic grass that you can't do this with, but when you get it hung in the grass, if you just pop your rod on, you go to a slack line and you just rip it out. A lot of times that grass will come free. It'll break free and you can keep fishing.
Nice.
So, yep.
So let's talk about the movements here. I see tons of movements here.
Yep.
You're popping it. You're going sideways. You're doing all the. Tell us about the different ones. Let's go through a litany of those.
The sideways one is because the phone's in my way. The other one is I don't believe in cast and wind back. Same speed, same everything else. When the bass aren't feeding, it's more of a reaction strike. So I want it to rise and fall and jerk back and forth. And I want it to rip through the grass. I want it to scare the living crap out of them. I want them to say, oh, there's something, I need to grab it to see what it is. Because the cool thing about a fish is they don't have hands. So if they want to grab something to check it out, they grab it with their mouth.
Right.
And so they don't typically, most of the time they don't want to eat it. They just want to see what it is.
Right.
And when it looks like something good to eat and it comes by really fast, they're like, oh, let me go get it. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do now. I don't think the fish are out this deep. They were here yesterday. I think they're behind me. But
caught anything yet?
I've caught 4 this morning so far on the other side of the creek, but the wind direction was wrong, and the sun would have the whole background of this video, it would have been blown out from the sun. So I came over to this side of the creek to get better lighting.
The lighting is good, yeah. And you know what? Maybe we might still catch something, right? As we keep.
Oh yeah. For sure. And I'm
all your superpowers and skills to try to catch something. We're doing the podcast here.
Yeah.
So now, where are you at today in your career, and how has your YouTube channel changed, and what's going on with with shorts and all that? Give us a texture of what's going on now and how it's different than it used to be. And
my gosh,
going?
YouTube has changed so much. I still have my demographics older. The ones that found me years ago are still watching my videos, and I'm not hitting so many teenagers because teenagers don't have a very long attention span anymore, thanks to shorts and things like that. And I do shorts, but you just don't get anything out of them. And the instructional shorts do really, really well, but I just don't feel like somebody can learn what they need to learn in less than a minute.
Right.
And so I do shorts. My son is my editor, my 22-year-old, and he'll pull shorts out of my videos for me, which end up being pretty good. But the things that have changed over the years, good gosh. I mean, YouTube changes so much anyway, but long form videos used to be really good for me. Now they're still decent, but they're not the best. If I don't do at least a 15 to 20 minute video once a week, I start to lose subscribers. They're like, you're going straight to shorts. You're a sellout. You got to, my loyal follower. And so I make sure I have instructional videos, and then I mix in shorts as I go along and stuff like that. And then Facebook, I'm starting to put my videos on Facebook because Facebook's finally starting to pay a little bit better. They've made it very difficult to grow over the years because they want you to pay for your growth. And it used to be work is what got you growth. Now you got to work and pay money to do it. So it's one of those things.
Like the form of boost post, is that what works? Boost post?
Yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It just all depends on. Well, I don't know what it depends on, really. You just do it when you feel like you need to, and hope it works. So
right. And then where are they going? Where's everything going with all this, you think?
I don't know. I have all I know is that the cool thing is remember when the vlogs were really, really popular?
Yeah.
Like 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Right.
I said to myself, I said, vlogs are great and people are getting a lot of attention for them, but they don't live very long. And so you get the majority of your views right there at the beginning of a vlog. And I was like, instructionals are one of those things where they live forever. People are always looking for that information, whether it's my old stuff or my new stuff. I still get views off of my old things. And so I've been able to relax a little bit because that revenue's still coming in. Unfortunately, this is a job and I have to worry about revenue. But that revenue's still coming in, so I can relax a little bit and be a little bit more. I do a little bit more that's not what YouTube is driving, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so they drive the shorts, they drive all the short, all the small content and all the crazy videos. I can't do a crazy video. You will never see me try to do a vlog or a viral style video because it's not going to work for me.
Right. But that's not good. You've been doing this instructional thing and that's worked for you just fine.
Yeah. And people are still using YouTube for instructionals. I know they use it for everything else now, but I got to see YouTube start from when it was a fledgling and there wasn't anybody on YouTube and everybody was up posting their stupid cat videos,
Yeah. Well, I use YouTube for instructional things. I mean,
100%.
Learn something.
Yep. That's how I fix half the crap that breaks in my house.
Long-term view. What do you see? What's that remote control there, right? Is that your motor?
That's my motor. I have a motor up front.
Man, that is so cool.
Yeah. So I can hit it and do circles and all kinds of stuff.
Look at this.
One of my sayings this year is I don't fish for exercise. And so you don't see me paddle, you don't see me pedal. I have a motor in the front so I can get where I need to. Because if I want to exercise, I'll do something other than fish.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is sitting there riding around. He's got this little remote control. Looks no bigger than a TV remote. And he's going left and right and forward. And he's just on his boat. And that's not a boat. It's like a little kayak. But he's just relaxed on that thing. You got a backrest on that thing too, don't you?
Oh yeah, it's got a high seat. It's like sitting in a lawn chair. And I can stand up and fish out of it. It's super stable.
I've seen it. And you could put a cooler in front of you, can't you?
Yeah, I could have a cooler up front or one in the back. I've got all my tackle behind me. I don't even want to know how much this thing weighs because I've got a 75 amp hour lithium battery up front and 100 in the back. And I've got all the electronics. I tell everybody I've got everything a $100,000 bass boat has on it, but the gas payment and the boat bill. So,
well, what we need to do is we need to get you the new Bolo pack, which is a soft cooler that's attached to our Bolo tarp. And the Bolo tarp opens up to a hammock that also has a drain tarp. It's also a gear organizer and all that other stuff. An 8x8. It's a sidewall to our pop-up tent. But that you open up that you could put 18 cans of beer in that thing with ice, and that lasts for 2 days. So when you're done with that beer and you're nice and smashed, then you start catching some fish, and you can put the fish in the ice in the ice cooler. And it's airtight.
Mine would be water. I don't drink, but I've lost 50 or 45 pounds since Christmas. So
nice.
It's water and an energy drink every day, and I eat when I get off the water. So it's the Fluke Master diet program. I go fishing all day without food on the boat, then I get out and go eat one meal, and that's it.
Oh, it's like you're doing like a little bass fishing intermittent fasting.
Yes, 100%. Is that what it is? I got off the water yesterday, went to Publix, got a salad, and that's all I ate yesterday. So.
Oh man, you're doing it right. All right. So tell everybody how they can find out more about you.
I'm on almost every social media outlet. Whenever there's a new one that pops up, I try to get an account because people like to steal my name on new social media outlets. So you can typically just search up Fluke Master, FLUKEMASTER, anywhere, and you'll be able to find me. My guide service, if you guys wanted to, I've got a kayaks rigged out just like this one for my clients if they don't have one, and they wanted to come guide and come fishing with me on Gunnersville, they could. And you can find that at an app and a website called Fishing Chaos. And but I'm dirt cheap.
Nice.
And I'm a lot of fun, but mostly just YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is where you'll be able to find me. So
you are having a lot of fun, man. He's out in the water. This is the first time we've ever had anybody on the water to do a podcast with us. We'll be showing all this video content on all our socials. This is awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing lives from my kayak in the next few weeks. I got some testing to do to see how I can do it, but my goal is to to Bluetooth my GoPro that's behind me onto my cell phone and then use my cell phone to answer questions and just do 3, 4, 5 hours every few days where I'm just streaming.
Yes.
So,
well, this is great. Thank you so much for sharing. I love what you're doing, and I think you know, it looks like you're having a great time. So keep on doing it. I'll be watching out for you, and thank you so much for sharing today.
yes, appreciate it, Michael. What are you doing, picture?
All right, we were just about to go, but Gene Jensen, the flute master, he just caught a bass and live on the first time on the podcast. Let's see what it is. What do you got there, buddy?
It's just a little one.
That's a little one. That looks pretty big to me. That's not bad. How much?
No, this is a keeper. I mean, this is a decent one, but yeah, it's a little one. He hit pretty good though. But like, you know, I knew these fish were moving up shallow, so I just got out of the deep water and moved shallow.
How much do you think he weighs?
He's probably 1.25 pounds, maybe 1.5 pounds.
All right. Well, looks pretty good to me. Looks good on camera.
I want his great grandmother though. I want the big ones.
Yeah. You throw them back in there. There it is.
Yeah.
Well, there you saw it live. We came back for you on the one just to add a little bit more to you. First time on the Bolotor podcast. Oh, and it will always be the first time I've ever seen anybody catch a fish on the podcast. Gene Jensen, Fluke Master, thank you so much for sharing.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us. Gear up for your next adventure and head over to Bolotor.com to check out the amazing Bolo Pack and their other innovative outdoor gear. Catch you next time.